This is a 98th film in the New York Times Best 100, and honestly, at this pace, I don't think I'll ever finish. This list is insane. I don't know what I was doing. I need to hire an editor or something. Grizzly Man is a Werner Herzog film, and please be prepared for me to mispronounce that name multiple times throughout this. I've never seen a Herzog film before. I'm a bit excited. Let's go. The film starts off with Timothy Treadwell, who, much like Goldilocks, likes trespassing into the homes of bears, and not the kind that like to wear leather, like actual real-life bears. And while he's in their territory, he's talking about how he is a gentle warrior, but when pushed, he must become a samurai. Now, I don't want to make this about race, but I think there is something to be said about white people who socially dominate the world and will go out and try to exert that dominance on nature through cave diving, skydiving, or just going out into the middle of nowhere to stare at bears. Because there has to be some sort of social or psychological reasoning for a guy like Timothy to actively want to be around dangerous apex predators like this. But it's an entirely different thing to want to do that, go out and do it, and then go on an entire rant about how if these animals challenged him, he will meet that challenge head on. See, the difference between me and Timothy Treadwell is my vibes are so chill, so damn immaculate, that the bears would want to chill with me. I don't need to be a warrior or anything. I'm so nonchalant a bear would bring me a salmon and want to be my best friend. Willie Fulton, the friend and pilot for Timothy, is telling the story of the last time he dropped Timothy and Amie off into the wilderness for the summer to be with the bears. And he's telling this emotional story about discovering the remains of his friend and calling for help from park services. And he's describing how the bear who almost attacked him that he saw eating from a human ribcage was killed because it rushed him and the park services. And then I lose every ounce of empathy I really had for Timothy, even though it's a 20-year-old movie, and death. Not that they deserve to be attacked, of course, but the bear attacked and ate what it believed to be prey for whatever reason. As much reasoning you can apply to a wild animal. It's not like this was a pet dog that attacked a family of 5. This was a bear in the middle of the wilderness that ate something that was in the middle of the wilderness he thought he could easily kill and eat. The fact this bear was killed for doing nothing wrong because some human beings feel the need to thrill seek is kind of terrible to me.
Don't you do that.
I someday from the bottom of my heart hope to be as delusional as this man who casually punches a bear. I would love to believe in myself enough to think I can do anything as much as Timothy Treadwell believed that he could scare off bears if he just returned their aggression.
I love you. 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 I'm sorry.
The more I watch this film, the more Timothy grows on me in an odd way. I know he was crazy and deserves to have jokes made about him, but in a way he is quite admirable. To see a man believe in himself, his vision, and an ideal world so vividly that he would spend 13 summers chilling and singing and making baby talk with killing machines is impressive and admirable. Of course his actions are naive, but as I watch this weird dude believe in something, anything with his entire being, it is awe-inspiring. Before I actually saw this movie, I coincidentally saw a video recently of Herzog talk about how he is so, himself, German, autistic, whatever you want to call it, that he is so matter-of-factly about everything that he doesn't think twice about things or judge them superficially. He just sees their parts. And though this is my first Herzog film, I must say he wasn't lying. Herzog talks about Timothy with a level of respect and admiration that feels genuine. He doesn't see a crazy man, he sees a man who is passionate and a filmmaker and treats him with a level of reverence as though a fellow artist. And the film goes on and my respect for Timothy deepens. I think Herzog definitely plays a role in this admiration I am building for him. The way he uses footage and talks about Timothy, the interviews, I find myself hating that pilot who recovered their remains because he bashed Timothy. Sure, the guy was weird, but there's a charisma about him that I think you can only see if you're aware it exists. A few times in the film, several people will talk about Amie Huguenard, Timothy's girlfriend at the time. Depending on who it is, some people will say Timothy's death was dumb or how it was a tragedy, but consistent thing about how Amie died alongside with him is that it is somehow a greater tragedy. Like, even if they think Timothy's death was bad, this woman though, well, heaven cried when she died. And that's such a weird thing I keep noticing that's kind of throwing me off because he didn't hold a gun to her head. That's an adult woman who made an adult choice to go go out there. And of course it sucks that they died, especially in such a way, but it's such an odd infantilization, as though this woman was coerced to fly out into the Alaskan wilderness with her boyfriend of several years. As I draw closer to the end of the movie, there is a sense of sadness I feel for Timothy and Amie, even though these people died 20-something years ago. It was a lifetime ago, but that sense of sadness remains. And I wonder whether that's because of Herzog and the phenomenal filmmaker that he is, and the way that he does this film that makes Timothy timeless, or I'm just a big softie. I'm not quite sure, but what I am sure of, Timothy would have fucking loved YouTube and TikTok, man. Holy shit.
I was so scared, I almost got sick to my stomach watching you fight. And then when he knocked you down and you had him, and you were down on your back, it was terrible. It was terrible.
If a dude approached me after getting my ass whooped and gave me a play-by-play, I would also eat him. Bro, leave me alone. Herzog does a great job of not making Timothy seem like a crazy weirdo whose death was rational and logical in the face of nature. Sure, he hung out with apex predators, but that's not the point. The point is that this was a man who believed in what he was doing with such ferocity. He ate, breathed, and lived it. The validity of Timothy Treadwell's actions isn't even a thought in Herzog's retelling of Timothy. He is merely an interesting subject. By the end of the film, I have grown to like Timothy maybe as much as his close friends did. He had something about him that made him endearing. I'm not going to pass judgment on a man who died 20 years ago. He was an odd guy, sure, but he found something that made sense to him. He felt like an outcast shunned by society, and he did his best to carve a space for himself, and that's the human experience. I think unfortunately he was deeply mentally ill, and not because dude was crazy about bears. I think he could have used some help. And if he would have gotten it, I think he would have had a long life of being able to enjoy these bears safely for years to come, and maybe even actually eventually help them, had he gotten some help. I don't have much to say as far as the film. It was great, and I'm typically not a big documentary guy, but there's definitely an artistry there that left me feeling attached to a long dead man. I felt a kinship as he talked about his struggles with addiction and loneliness, and how he feels like he has no place in society but amongst these wild animals, amongst these vicious predators that will kill their babies just to fuck more or eat them when food is scarce. Timothy Treadwell felt a sense of comfort, and I think that whether you think that was due to mental illness or what have you, it is still something to think about. And that sense of isolation and loneliness that Timothy often talked about in his videos has only really gotten worse. Whether you think that's due to XYZ isn't really important. It's just kind of evident. Human beings are social creatures that need to feel a sense of community. It's human to feel like, if I disappeared from this world, would I be missed? Not necessarily remembered, but if I vanished today, would there be an absence that people notice? And again, maybe it's because Herzog is a phenomenal filmmaker, but I guess it just makes me sad a bit. In a lot of ways, Timothy is a representative of the human experience, a soul who was given consciousness and free will and told to figure it out in a cruel and unforgiving place. There's a quote by someone that means a lot to me and I often sort of use as a mantra. I forget who says it. I think it was Albert Camus, but it goes, "The meaning of life is whatever you're doing that's stopping you from killing yourself." Everyone wants to exist and feel at peace with their lives, and though Timothy's peace killed him, he found it. And I think, though sad, it is strangely beautiful that he found a place that felt like home. I hope we can all be so lucky and wildly less unlucky than Timothy Treadwell.
Thank you so much for these animals, for giving me a life. I had no life. Now I have a life.